Let's speak to Pastor Giet Khosa, the General Secretary of the IFCC. Thank you so much, Pastor Khosa, for your time this evening. A lot has happened since the report came out. What do you make of the developments around the last few days?
First of all, thank you so much, Bongiwa, for having us so that we can represent and share our views as a church, as the body of Christ, for the things that affect actually everyone that we represent and the people of South Africa. And also want to welcome this report by the panel and welcome because this report, what it has done, it has forced Parliament, it has all forced the President and everyone to confront the elephant in the room. Well, as we have said in our statement, since the release of the report, the country has been almost on tenterhooks, if I will use that term, because there's actually no direction, there's no information that is coming, what's going to happen, particularly with our president, who is the head of a state. Now, when you touch the head of a state, it doesn't belong to one organization. We all have to remember he's represent the people of South Africa. And the people of South Africa is 60 million people in our country. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen. Where is our president? And we must say that we were disappointed when the president we said we're going to address the nation yesterday, and that didn't happen. And so we say we are asking the president that there's anxiety in the nation. People want to know the direction, what's going to happen, so that we're able to respond and able to support whatever we need to support. So that's our first initial report, is to call on the president to speak to the nation and lead us and give us direction as to what's going to happen with this report.
You've had engagements with the president in the past, particularly also just, remembering recently the COVID-19 pandemic. You would be called to be sitting with the president and giving him the view of the church in this regard. Have you been able to speak to him at all as the IFCC? And what have you said if you've managed to speak to him?
Not at the moment. We did allow that space when we heard that he is consulting, but not at that space. And the leadership obviously is deliberating, because we do believe that as a church, we cannot just keep quiet and watch at a distance. So we will be considering that option, because we believe that this is at the interest of our country. Whatever Parliament do, whatever political parties do, whatever the president do, they must put our country first. That's our call.
And if you were to speak to him, what advice would you give him? What's the right thing that he should do right now?
I think one of the things that when we're looking at this report and deliberating about it, we think that the whole thing, the processes that needs to take place must take place. You will recall, Bongwe, that SARS is investigating, NPA is investigating, the Hawks are investigating, the SAPS, the police are investigating, the public protector is investigating. The concern with this institution that I've just mentioned, that taking so long to deal with the matter. And that's why we appreciate this report by the panel, because they just took 30 days to bring out something so the country can confront this elephant in the room. So we also want to urge other processes that are going on to release their own report, so that South Africa is not held at ransom by this situation. And really, that's very important. So it's difficult to say what the president must do without seeing all the reports and the processes that are happening. Otherwise, why do we have this institution if they take so long to produce a report?
I suppose then, listening to what you're saying, is it could signal towards a crisis somewhat, whether the crisis is at leadership level or the crisis is at institutional level. It sounds like you're saying there is a crisis.
No, definitely, this is a crisis. We cannot shy away. This is a crisis. You see, there's a saying, everything in life rise and fall on its leadership. And so when people don't lead, you open a vacuum. And as we speak now, there's a huge speculation around the president. Is he resigning? Is not resigning? What's going to happen? You just don't need that in a country. You need to know, okay, there's an issue that's arise, and leadership, people take leadership and move the country forward. When you respond slowly, you create a crisis and speculation unnecessary. The country doesn't need that at all.
All right, let's see then if he heeds your call to then address the nation, as you say, as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time. That is Pastor Giet Khosa, the General Secretary of the International Federation of Christian Churches. Iman, calls are growing for the president to then come out and address the nation and somewhat chart a way forward as to what happens next.